Smoke lingers in the air as cars idle at endless traffic lights. Millions of engines rumble across the country, pouring pollutants into bustling cityscapes. The stakes couldn't be higher. India is one of the world's fastest-growing economies, yet also faces mounting environmental and public health challenges. Instead of drowning in the fumes of fossil fuel dependency, the nation has begun a race toward electrification, one that might just rewrite the global automotive landscape. But here's the pressing question. Can India truly become the next EV giant? In this video, we're diving deep, no sugarcoating. We'll look at how India's government is paving the road for electric vehicles, the role of local automakers like Tata and Mahindra, the country's export ambitions, and the challenges that stand in the way. From policy frameworks to human resources, from green energy goals to infrastructural hurdles, we'll piece together whether India can emerge as a dominant force in the world of electric mobility. Why EVs matter for India? Let's begin by zeroing in on why EVs are such a big deal in India. If you've ever visited cities like Delhi or Mumbai, you've probably experienced firsthand the thick haze that sometimes blankets entire neighborhoods. Air pollution in many Indian cities regularly exceeds safe limits, leading to respiratory illnesses and a host of other health risks. Part of the reason? India's massive consumption of fossil fuels. The country imports a significant portion of its oil, spending billions of dollars each year. Transitioning to electric vehicles means reducing oil dependency, keeping more money in the economy, and bolstering energy security. But there's also an economic and global prestige factor. India's leadership has set a net zero target by 2070. To approach such an ambitious goal, the country can't rely solely on incremental changes. It needs transformative solutions. EVs, combined with an expanding renewable energy sector, think sprawling solar farms and wind projects, can drastically cut emissions. Plus, with over 1.4 billion people, even a modest shift toward EVs can create an outsized impact on global carbon reduction. More than that, the potential for an EV-led manufacturing surge could be a game-changer. If India successfully develops local supply chains, especially in battery production, it can establish itself as a competitive exporter to other emerging markets in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. Affordability is king in these regions, and Indian firms excel at building budget-friendly vehicles. So from a market perspective, EVs represent a lucrative growth path. Government policies and support. India's government isn't sitting on the sidelines. Multiple policies have rolled out, aiming to kickstart EV adoption. FAME2, faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles. The original FAME scheme offered subsidies for electric two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and buses. FAME2 significantly ramps up the budget, helping offset the cost of EV purchases and incentivizing infrastructure development, like public charging stations. This effectively brings down the upfront price of electric scooters, rickshaws, and even certain cars. It also nudges manufacturers to invest in local facilities, because the government wants more made-in-India components in the supply chain. Production-linked incentive, PLI, schemes. This is a powerful economic tool. If a company meets certain production targets in India, it receives financial rewards from the government. There's a PLI scheme for the automobile sector, targeting EVs and related components, and another specifically for advanced chemistry cells, ACC. By supporting local battery cell manufacturing, these incentives can slash costs for EV makers down the line because batteries make up the biggest chunk of an EV's total expense. Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. India has a broader push to reduce dependence on imports, especially from China, and foster a homegrown manufacturing ecosystem. For EVs, this means everything from local R&D labs to locally sourced steel and electronics. Tata and Mahindra, with long-standing Indian manufacturing operations, are naturally positioned to take advantage of these policies. State-level initiatives. States like Delhi, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu compete to attract automotive investments through tax breaks, subsidies for buying EVs, and low-cost land for factories. Delhi, for instance, has set lofty targets for electrifying public transport and has implemented registration fee waivers for EVs, spurring rapid growth in e-rickshaws and e-scooters. While these policies don't outright exclude foreign automakers, Hyundai, Kia, and others can also benefit, local players like Tata and Mahindra already have the infrastructure and experience to maneuver through bureaucracy and tap into these incentives effectively. Major domestic players: Tata and Mahindra. Tata Motors. You can't talk about India's EV journey without mentioning Tata Motors. Their Nexon EV has quickly become a hallmark of India's electric car market, offering a solid mix of range, performance, and affordability compared to other electric SUVs in India. They also rolled out the Tigor EV, a compact sedan, and more recently the Tiago EV, a hatchback, to cover broader price segments. Symbiotic ecosystem. Tata Group isn't just about cars. It also owns Tata Power, Tata Chemicals, and other industrial arms, which can help with charging stations, battery materials, and more. This gives Tata Motors a unique advantage in building a comprehensive EV ecosystem. Export strategy. While Tata does export ICE vehicles to regions in Africa and Latin America, EV exports remain in the early stages. Domestic demand is growing so fast that it's soaking up most of their current production capacity. However, once Tata ramps up, African and Southeast Asian markets may become the next frontier. Mahindra and Mahindra. Known for rugged SUVs like the Scorpio and Bolero, and a worldwide leader in tractors, Mahindra and Mahindra is also throwing its weight behind EVs. Under its Mahindra electric subsidiary, it offers models like the Everedo and has teased futuristic electric SUVs under its popular XUV range. Global presence. Mahindra is already a big name in tractor exports and has established dealership networks in multiple countries. This could serve as a ready-made channel for rolling out EVs overseas once they're competitive on cost and range. Challenges. They've not been as fast as Tata in rolling out a popular lineup of electric cars. But with new investments in R&D, they aim to catch up, especially in the SUV space, an area where Mahindra's brand strength is notable. For both Tata and Mahindra, government policies offer a tailwind, but to truly dominate on a global scale, they'll eventually have to look beyond India's borders. Local policies can help create a stable foundation, but world-class design, international certifications, and cutting-edge battery tech will be essential if they plan to conquer export markets. Other EV players and export potential. Tata and Mahindra aren't alone. Several other players are eyeing the Indian EV market. Hyundai and Kia. Both have significant manufacturing bases in India. Hyundai's Kona Electric and the upcoming affordable EV models could become export contenders if local production ramps up. MG, SAIC. MG sells the ZS EV in India and positions itself as a British heritage brand, though owned by China's SAIC. With the right cost structure, MG India could also pursue exports. 2- and 3-wheeler makers. Ola Electric, Ather, Bajaj, and TVS are driving electrification in scooters and motorbikes. This category is critical because India moves on 2 wheels. E-rickshaws, 3-wheelers, are also seeing rapid adoption in urban clusters. Export potential is massive, especially in the 2-wheeler and 3-wheeler spaces. These vehicles are simpler to manufacture, smaller batteries, fewer components, and fit neatly into the low-cost bracket that many emerging markets crave. But to become a true EV export hub, India needs to ensure stable, high-quality manufacturing that meets global safety and emission standards, competitive pricing that can undercut or match Chinese EV prices, favorable trade deals with target export markets. Without significant exports, India's influence on the global EV stage might be muted. After all, China's dominance stems partly from its monstrous export capacity. Chinese EVs, batteries, and components find their way to markets worldwide. India might replicate that model if it can streamline production and maintain consistent quality. Infrastructure and supply chain challenges. India's EV dreams can't flourish without a robust charging infrastructure and domestic supply chain for critical components. Charging network. Major cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, are setting up public charging stations at malls, offices, and highways. However, a lack of rural chargers can deter EV adoption outside metropolitan hubs. Some private companies, including Tata Power and Indian Oil, are stepping in to build networks, but the rollout is still in progress. Battery manufacturing. Currently, many Indian EVs rely on imported lithium-ion cells, primarily from China. Even if local companies assemble battery packs, the core cell remains an import. The ACC-PLI scheme aims to attract large-scale investments to build cell manufacturing plants in India. This shift is crucial if India wants to reduce costs and become a serious exporter. Price sensitivity. India is known for budget-conscious consumers. While EVs are cheaper to run in the long term, the initial purchase price is still high for many. Government incentives help, but they're not yet universal or permanent. For mass adoption, EVs must compete head-to-head with ICE vehicles on cost. Policy stability. Any rapid rollback of subsidies or abrupt regulatory shifts can scare away investors. Companies plan EV lines years in advance. They need predictable policies to confidently scale up production. Human resources and skill development. One advantage India wields is its deep pool of technical and IT talent. As EVs become more software-driven, autonomous features, telematics, battery management systems, having a strong engineering base is critical. Software and IT ecosystem. India's tech hubs, like Bangalore, have thousands of software developers who can pivot to vehicle tech. This synergy might lead to innovative solutions in EV connectivity and smart charging networks. Upskilling programs. National programs such as Skill India and state-level initiatives are launching courses focused on EV design, battery technology, and maintenance. Automotive training institutes are partnering with OEMs to provide hands-on experience in EV assembly and repair. Challenges. Specialized fields like advanced battery chemistry or high-voltage electronics require deeper expertise. India will need more R&D collaboration with global firms to catch up quickly. Brain drain is a concern. Top talent can be lured overseas by higher salaries unless local opportunities remain competitive. In short, India has the sheer quantity of engineers needed, but it must refine those skills to match the nuanced demands of EV manufacturing, where mechanical, electrical, and software engineering intersect. Environmental policies and pollution control. India's net zero by 2070 pledge signals a long-term focus on decarbonization. Transportation is a major contributor to both urban pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, so shifting to EVs is a logical piece of the puzzle. Stricter emission norms. The Bharat stage, BS, emission standards have become increasingly stringent. Upgrading ICE vehicles to meet these new norms is expensive, nudging automakers toward EVs as a simpler path to compliance. Urban mobility moves. Cities like Delhi have introduced electric bus fleets to cut down on diesel emissions and are encouraging e-rickshaws in place of old, polluting auto rickshaws. States also experiment with banning older diesel vehicles or imposing fines for high-emission cars, pushing the market toward greener alternatives. For India's fight against pollution, EVs are just one weapon. Parallel growth in renewable energy, better waste management, and infrastructure upgrades are all part of a larger environmental overhaul. But the auto sector is among the most visible areas, and success here could inspire confidence that India can tackle pollution in other domains too. Comparing India to global EV hubs. Despite India's progress, let's not ignore the heavyweights. China dominates every aspect of EV production: vehicles, batteries, and the raw material supply chain. With brands like BYD, NIO, and CATL, China has turned into the world's EV workshop. India is still in the early innings compared to China's massive lead. United States. Tesla revolutionized global perceptions of electric cars. American automakers like GM and Ford are chasing a full EV lineup. Government incentives, like the Inflation Reduction Act, further boost local manufacturing. India lacks a Tesla-scale brand recognized worldwide, although Tata could potentially become a global name if it executes well. Japan, a powerhouse in ICE and hybrid tech, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, but slower on pure EV adoption. There's a window for India to leapfrog here if it stays aggressive in battery EVs. Still, Japan's manufacturing quality and global reputation remain formidable. Korea. Hyundai and Kia produce highly rated EVs, Ioniq 5, EV6. Korea also leads in battery tech, LG Energy Solution, SK On. This is an area where India aspires to catch up via local cell manufacturing. Germany. Home to Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, with a reputation for engineering excellence. Germany's auto exports permeate global markets. Any Indian auto brand aiming for worldwide recognition will face stiff competition from established German reliability and prestige. India's advantage lies in its sheer market size and potential to produce affordable vehicles, a segment less emphasized by Europe or the US. If India nails cost-effectiveness, especially in smaller EVs and two-wheelers, it could carve out a major niche both at home and across emerging markets. So what does the future look like for India's EV ambitions? Opportunities. Two- and three-wheelers. India absolutely dominates in these segments. Scaled-up electrification of scooters, bikes, and rickshaws can drastically reduce urban pollution and position India as a leading exporter of lightweight EVs. Battery localization. The ACC PLI scheme might lure billions in investment for large-scale battery cell plants, bringing down EV costs and making exports viable. Software synergy. As vehicles become more connected and autonomous, features seep into mainstream cars. India's IT services sector could play a pivotal role. Challenges. Supply chain development. Building a reliable domestic chain for motors, controllers, and cells requires capital, time, and advanced know-how. Policy consistency and implementation. India's bureaucracy can slow progress. Manufacturers need a stable environment to confidently invest. Global competition. Other nations are not standing still. China, the US, and Europe each have their own strategies to stay ahead. Possible scenarios. Scenario A. India becomes a specialized EV hub focusing on affordable, small-format vehicles and captures a significant share of the developing world's market. Scenario B. India's progress remains mostly domestic, with companies like Tata and Mahindra meeting local demand but limited in overseas expansion. Scenario C. With strong government support and successful battery factories, India rivals major EV players, exporting both budget and premium EVs worldwide. India stands at a crossroads. The pieces are being put into place. Favorable policies, a burgeoning tech-savvy workforce, massive consumer demand, and local champions like Tata and Mahindra diving into EVs. But to answer the core question, can India become the next EV giant? The honest response is, it has the potential, but success is not guaranteed. Why potential exists? A vast and ever-expanding domestic market, eager for cost-effective, cleaner vehicles. Government incentives like FAME II and the PLI, schemes that spur local manufacturing. A proven capacity to produce affordable automobiles and export them to emerging markets. Why success requires hard work. India must develop a robust battery supply chain to bring down costs and avoid dependency on imports. Infrastructure, both in terms of charging stations and skilled labor, needs rapid scaling. Global quality standards are unforgiving. If local EVs are to compete internationally, they need reliability and safety features on par with top brands. So, what do you think? Is India on a trajectory to dethrone current EV giants, or do you see more roadblocks ahead? Could Tata and Mahindra become household names around the world for electric vehicles, or will they remain primarily local champions? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's get a conversation going. If you found this deep dive informative, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more on EVs, green tech, and global innovation. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about one country's journey. It's about shaping the future of mobility for the entire planet.